The chess pieces are moving across the board, and some organizations are making statements that will echo through the next decade of NFL football. Welcome to Bears News Fan Report, your trusted source for breaking developments, in-depth analysis, and everything you need to know about our beloved Chicago Bears and the league that shapes our future. I'm bringing you something today that's going to change how you think about the 2026 draft landscape, and I promise you, by the time we're done here, you'll see exactly why the moves happening right now matter tremendously for where the Bears are headed. Stay locked in, because what I'm about to break down involves strategic positioning, franchise-altering decisions, and a draft class that's redefining how teams build championship rosters. Let me set the stage for you. The 2026 NFL Draft is shaping up to be one of the most quarterback-heavy classes we've seen in years, with teams absolutely desperate to find their franchise signal caller. When you've got organizations willing to mortgage future assets and jump to the top of the board just to secure their guy, the value at that position is driving every conversation happening in war rooms across the league. But here's the fascinating part that most people aren't talking about. While everyone's focused on the quarterbacks, there's a secondary storyline developing that's equally important. Teams are aggressively loading up on playmakers and premium position players, understanding that once you have your quarterback, you need to surround him with talent that can execute immediately. Now, I want you to think about the New York Jets for a second. Stay with me here because this connects directly to our Bears and how we should be evaluating our own roster construction. The Jets have been in quarterback purgatory for what feels like forever, cycling through options and never finding that long-term answer who can elevate the entire organization. According to the latest projections, New York is making an absolutely massive move, jumping all the way to the #1 overall pick to secure Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. That's the kind of bold, aggressive decision-making that changes franchises overnight. Mendoza brings poise, accuracy, and the ability to command offensive structure from day one, giving the Jets exactly what they've been searching for. But drafting a quarterback is only step one. You can have the most talented signal caller in the world, but if you don't give him weapons, if you don't build an infrastructure around him that allows him to succeed, you're setting him up for failure. This is where things get really interesting, and this is where the Jets' strategy starts to reveal itself in a way that should make every Bears fan pay attention. New York isn't stopping at quarterback. They're doubling down on their offensive rebuild with calculated precision, understanding that modern NFL offenses require explosive playmakers who can create separation, generate yards after catch, and give young quarterbacks easy completions that build confidence. The draft projections show the Jets coming back into the first round with another premium selection, this time at pick 18 via Indianapolis. This is fascinating because it demonstrates organizational commitment to building offense the right way. You secure your quarterback early, then you immediately turn around and give him targets. You don't wait until next year or hope to find value in later rounds. You strike while you have the capital and the opportunity. And the player they're projected to take at 18 is someone who perfectly fits what modern offenses are trying to accomplish. Let me talk about Makai Lemon for a moment because this kid out of USC represents everything teams are looking for in contemporary receiving threats. Lemon isn't your traditional X-receiver who wins purely with size and contested catches. He's a versatile yards-after-catch monster who thrives in space, creates separation with route-running precision, and has the kind of dynamic ability that translates immediately to the NFL level. When you watch his tape, you see someone who understands leverage, who can work multiple levels of the field, and who has the acceleration to turn 5-yard catches into explosive gains. That's exactly what you want to pair with a rookie quarterback. The Jets selecting Lemon at 18 would give Mendoza an instant security blanket, someone he can lean on in critical situations and trust to make plays when the coverage is tight. In today's NFL, quarterback development is directly tied to the quality of weapons around them. We've seen countless examples of talented quarterbacks struggling because they didn't have adequate support, and conversely, we've watched average quarterbacks look great because they had elite talent at the skill positions. New York is trying to avoid the first scenario by being proactive and aggressive in building their offense. Now let's bring this back to Chicago because this is where the strategic implications become crystal clear for us Bears fans. While the Jets are loading up on offense and trying to build around their new quarterback, we're taking a different approach. The Bears, according to these projections, are selecting at 25 and going in a completely different direction. Instead of chasing offensive firepower, Chicago is projected to add Romello Height, an edge rusher out of Texas Tech who brings length, upside, and developmental potential to our defensive front. This tells me something important about how our organization is viewing roster construction. We've already invested heavily in offense with Caleb Williams at quarterback, and we've added skill position talent through previous drafts and free agency. The focus now is balancing the roster and addressing defensive needs that have been glaring throughout this season. Height represents the kind of long-term investment that can pay dividends down the line, giving us another edge presence to develop alongside the existing pieces we have up front. But here's where I want to challenge conventional thinking a bit. While I understand the logic of going defense with our pick, and while I absolutely see the value in adding pass rush depth, part of me wonders if we're being aggressive enough on the offensive side. When you look at what the Jets are doing, building that immediate support system around their young quarterback, it makes you question whether we've done enough to surround Caleb with elite-level talent. Yes, we have weapons, but do we have enough? Are we one injury away from being thin at receiver or tight end? These are the questions that keep me up at night as a Bears fan who wants to see us maximize Caleb's rookie contract window. The beauty of the draft is that it reflects organizational philosophy and strategic priorities. Teams reveal what they value, what they believe their biggest needs are, and how they plan to compete moving forward. The Jets are betting on offense-first construction, understanding that in today's pass-heavy league, you need firepower to keep pace with high-scoring opponents. Chicago is betting on defensive balance, trusting that our offensive investments to date are sufficient, and that adding defensive talent will round out the roster more effectively. Let me give you some context about Makai Lemon specifically because understanding what makes him special helps illustrate why the Jets would target him at 18. Lemon played at USC in one of college football's most competitive conferences, consistently facing elite defensive backs and complex coverage schemes. Despite that competition, he produced at a high level, showing the kind of consistency and reliability that translates to the professional game. His yards after catch numbers were exceptional, ranking among the top receivers in the nation, which speaks to his elusiveness and contact balance. He's not a one-dimensional player who can only succeed in specific offensive concepts. He's versatile enough to line up anywhere and make plays from multiple alignments. For the Jets, pairing Lemon with Mendoza creates an immediate connection that can grow over time. Think about the great quarterback-receiver tandems throughout NFL history, and you'll notice that many of them develop together from the beginning. When a quarterback and receiver go through the learning process simultaneously, building chemistry and developing timing, it creates a foundation that can last for years. New York is trying to manufacture that connection by bringing both players in during the same draft cycle, betting that their development will parallel each other and create something special. From a Bears perspective, watching divisional and conference opponents make aggressive moves should motivate our front office to stay equally aggressive. We can't afford to be complacent or satisfied with where our roster currently stands. The NFC is absolutely loaded with talent, and every year it seems like the competition gets tougher. If we're serious about competing for championships during Caleb's prime years, we need to be constantly evaluating opportunities to upgrade and add difference makers. That might mean being more active in free agency, or it might mean making draft day trades to move up and secure premium talent. Either way, we can't let other teams lap us in the talent acquisition race. Looking at Height as our projected pick, I'm cautiously optimistic about what he brings. Edge rusher is absolutely a position of need for us, and adding developmental talent there makes sense for long-term roster building. Height has the measurables teams covet, with length that allows him to keep offensive tackles at bay and convert speed to power effectively. He's raw in some aspects of his game, which is why he's available at 25, but the ceiling is intriguing. If our defensive coaching staff can refine his technique and help him add some polish to his pass rush repertoire, we could have a legitimate starter in year 2 or 3. The key for Chicago is ensuring we're not falling into the trap of constantly chasing defense while our offense remains stagnant. We need to remember that championships are won with balanced rosters, and while defense is important, we can't neglect the offensive side of the ball. Watching teams like the Jets aggressively build around their quarterback should serve as a reminder that we need to continue investing in weapons for Caleb, whether that's through the draft, free agency, or trades. Here's my honest assessment of the situation. The Jets are doing exactly what they should be doing, securing their quarterback and immediately surrounding him with talent. That's franchise building 101, and it's a blueprint that works when executed properly. Chicago is taking a different path, one that prioritizes defensive balance and long-term development. Both approaches can work, but success ultimately depends on execution and whether the players selected live up to their potential. I'm hopeful that Height can develop into a productive pass rusher for us, and I'm excited to see how our roster continues to evolve heading into 2026. Before we wrap up, I need to hear from you. Do you think the Bears should be more aggressive in adding offensive weapons around Caleb Williams, or is focusing on defense the right move? How do you feel about potentially selecting Romello Height at 25? And what do you make of the Jets' strategy of pairing their new quarterback with a dynamic receiver like Mekhi Lemon? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this conversation matters, and I want to know where Bears Nation stands on these critical roster-building decisions. When I look at the complete picture, both teams are trying to build winners, just with different philosophical approaches. The Jets are offense first. The Bears are balancing both sides of the ball. Time will tell which strategy proves more effective. But what matters most is that both organizations are being intentional about their roster construction and trying to maximize their competitive windows. As Bears fans, we should feel good about having a plan and sticking to it, even if it means taking a different path than other teams. If you want to stay updated on every Bears development, every draft projection, and every roster move that impacts our team, make sure you're subscribed to Bears News Fan Report and hit that notification bell. I'm here every single day bringing you the analysis and insights you need to stay informed and engaged with everything happening in Chicago. Drop a like on this video if you found it valuable, and share it with fellow Bears fans who want the inside scoop on where we're headed. Until next time, bear down, and let's keep believing in this team's future.